Welcome back, everyone, to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Today we are going to explore in detail the 1990 No Mint Mark 1 cent USA coin, a coin that has shocked collectors, historians, and everyday people alike because it has been valued at an incredible $240,000 due to its errors and mistakes. A staggering amount for something so small and ordinary looking. Yet behind its simple copper appearance lies a story of minting flaws, rarity, numismatic history, and collector obsession that transforms an everyday penny into a life-changing discovery. And as you join me on this journey, I want you to imagine holding a coin that most people would pass off without a thought. But in reality, that tiny piece of metal could be worth more than a luxury car or even a house. And the 1990 No Mint Mark penny is one of those exceptional treasures that is not only rare but also loaded with history and minting intrigue. So let's dive deep into what makes this coin so extraordinary, why collectors will pay such huge sums, and how you might even come across one if you know what to look for. Because the truth is that era coins have always captured the imagination of people, from small collectors to big investors, since they represent a mistake that should never have left the mint yet managed to slip into circulation, making them both an anomaly and a miracle in the coin world. And the 1990 No Mint Mark penny is a prime example of such. A fascinating mistake that happened because in 1990 the US Mint was supposed to produce pennies with the mint mark included. Since mint marks identify which branch of the mint produced the coin, Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark until 1980, but from then onwards they began stamping coins with a P for Philadelphia. However, in 1990 some pennies were struck without the mint mark. A glaring error that was noticed by very few people at the time but later became a sensation when collectors realized how rare these coins truly were. And because mint marks are critical in identifying a coin's origin, a missing mint mark raises huge questions about quality control and minting process, fueling the mystique and value of such coins. Now, why is the 1990 No Mint Mark penny worth $240,000? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and demand. Not every 1990 penny without a mint mark will fetch this astronomical price, but those in pristine, uncirculated condition, often graded by professional grading services at the highest levels like MS68 or MS69, are the ones that cross into six-figure territory. And when collectors are competing to own one of the very few known examples in superb condition, the price skyrockets because scarcity meets demand, creating a perfect storm in numismatic value. And what is even more fascinating is how these errors come to be. Sometimes it's a die that was accidentally prepared without the mint mark engraving. Sometimes it's due to a lapse in oversight at the minting facility, and other times it can be because a mint intentionally tested or changed processes and a few coins without marks accidentally slipped through into circulation. And whatever the origin of the mistake, the result is the same, a rare and highly prized anomaly. Now let's talk about the specific errors and mistakes that could be linked to the 1990 No Mint Mark penny and why they fascinate collectors so much. The primary error, of course, is the missing mint mark, but beyond that, other subtle minting mistakes could make a coin even more valuable. For instance, off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, clipped planchets, or weak strikes. And when a missing mint mark is combined with any of these errors, the rarity compounds, making the coin even more unique and hence more valuable. Some collectors specifically hunt for 1990 No Mint Mark pennies that also display doubling in the lettering of "In God We Trust" or "Liberty", as double die errors are highly collectible on their own. So imagine the power of two errors in one coin. Another fascinating possibility is coins struck on wrong planchets, where a penny is accidentally struck on a dime planchet or a foreign coin blank, which could make an already rare coin exponentially more desirable. And the 1990 No Mint Mark penny also sits in an interesting historical moment in U.S. coinage. Because by 1990 the penny was made of copper-plated zinc rather than solid copper, a transition that had already been controversial among collectors in the 1980s, since older copper pennies were heavier, more durable, and felt more traditional. So the 1990 No Mint Mark penny combines both the modern composition and the echo of classic numismatic rarity, making it an intriguing bridge between different eras of U.S. coinage. And while many might dismiss it as just another Lincoln cent, Seasoned collectors know that it is among the most iconic rarities of modern American pennies. Now let us imagine the experience of someone finding such a coin. Maybe they are rolling pennies for the bank, maybe they are sifting through pocket change, or maybe they inherit a jar of coins from a relative, and hidden among thousands of ordinary cents is this extraordinary treasure. At first it might look completely ordinary, but a closer inspection reveals the absence of the mint mark, sparking curiosity and leading them down the rabbit hole of research and grading, until they realize that they are holding a coin potentially worth $240,000. And this is what makes coin collecting so thrilling, the possibility that a small overlooked detail can transform an object of almost no face value into something that can change a person's financial future. And that's why we always say check your change, never underestimate the value of pennies. Because stories like the 1990 no-mint mark penny show us that lightning does strike in the numismatic world, and beyond the money there is also the historical and cultural value. Coins are small time capsules of the era in which they were struck, reflecting the economy, technology, and values of the time. So the 1990 no-mint mark penny is not just a rare coin, it is also a reminder of how human error, or perhaps a momentary lapse in a massive industrial system, can create objects that future generations will treasure. Now some skeptics might say, how can a simple missing mint mark make a coin worth $240,000? But the answer is clear in the world of collectibles. Rarity plus demand equals value, and when collectors want something that only a handful of people in the world can own, the price becomes almost limitless. Auction houses have seen such coins climb rapidly in price as bidding wars erupt, because wealthy collectors want to secure the rarest pieces for their portfolios, and unlike other investments, rare coins carry both tangible and historical appeal, making them a safer and more exciting store of value for many. And let's not forget that condition is everything in this world. While a circulated 1990 no-mint mark penny might fetch hundreds or even thousands, it is the perfect uncirculated specimens with flawless surfaces and sharp details that command the six-figure price tags. This is why professional grading is critical, because it provides authentication and assurance to collectors and investors, ensuring that the coin they are bidding on is genuinely what it claims to be. And so when a 1990 no-mint mark penny graded MS68RD comes to market, it becomes a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for collectors to secure a modern rarity, pushing the value all the way to $240,000, and perhaps even higher in the future, as more people realize the importance of modern-era coins. And while older rarities like the 1909 SVDB penny or the 1955 double-die penny have long held legendary status, modern rarities like the 1990 no-mint mark penny prove that the world of coin collecting is alive and evolving, offering new stories, new discoveries, and new opportunities for wealth and wonder. So as you can see, the story of this coin is not just about a missing mint mark, it is about human curiosity, historical chance, collector passion, and the endless fascination we have with the objects that pass through our hands every day without notice. And by paying attention, by learning, by looking closer, we can uncover treasures where others see nothing. So as we wrap up this deep exploration of the 1990 no-mint mark penny, remember that every coin has a story, every mistake has a meaning, and sometimes the smallest details hide the biggest fortunes. So check your change, examine those pennies, and keep an eye out, because you never know, the next coin you pick up could be one of those rare treasures worth $240,000. And maybe it will be your turn to join the ranks of those who turned an ordinary penny into an extraordinary life-changing discovery. And the legend of the 1990 no-mint mark penny continues to inspire collectors, excite historians, and fuel the dreams of ordinary people who hope to stumble across a treasure in their pocket change, reminding us all that in the world of coins, even the tiniest detail can be worth a fortune. Next, 1968 D1 cent USA coin, another thrilling exploration into the hidden world of rare and valuable pennies. Today we turn our attention to a fascinating coin from the late 1960s that has captured the imagination of collectors and continues to astonish the numismatic community. The 1968 mint mark D1 cent coin. A Lincoln penny that under ordinary circumstances would be just another piece of small change rattling in your pocket. But because of certain errors, mistakes, and striking anomalies, This coin has been known to fetch astonishing amounts of money, in some cases as much as $60,000, transforming an everyday copper cent into an extraordinary collector's item. And as we unravel the story of this coin, we'll explore why errors matter, what specific issues make the 1968 D penny such a treasure, and how you might identify whether you have one of these valuable coins sitting unnoticed in your collection, your change jar, or even in an old box of coins passed down through the generations. So settle in as we take a long, deep dive into everything you need to know about this legendary penny that could change your life if you happen to stumble upon one in the right condition. The first thing we need to understand about the 1968 D penny is the context of its time. The United States Mint in Denver was producing enormous numbers of Lincoln cents during the 1960s. Billions were struck each year, and on the surface there is nothing particularly unusual about that. In fact, the sheer volume makes it seem impossible that any of them would carry high value. But as collectors know, it is not about how many coins were struck, but about the anomalies and errors that slipped through quality control, and in 1968 some of those errors created rare varieties that transformed these otherwise ordinary coins into highly valuable treasures. The Mint Mark D on these pennies identifies that they were struck in Denver, and while the Denver Mint was efficient, no mint is perfect. And mistakes during die preparation, striking, or planchet handling can create one-of-a-kind rarities that today are highly sought after. And when we talk about a 1968 D penny worth up to $60,000, we are talking about a combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand converging to create extraordinary value. Now let us look at the errors and mistakes that can push the value of a 1968 D penny into the tens of thousands. The most famous of these is the double die variety, where the design elements such as the date 1968, the motto "In God We Trust," or the word "Liberty," appear to have been struck twice in slightly different positions, creating a shadow-like doubling effect that is highly visible to the naked eye. And when such doubling is bold and strong, collectors go wild because doubled dies are among the most beloved and recognized errors in coin collecting. And when you combine a double die error with a coin from 1968 in pristine uncirculated condition, you get a recipe for extreme value. Sometimes these double dies are so dramatic that even beginners can spot them, which only adds to their appeal. But that is not the only error that occurred on 1968 D pennies. There are also repunched mint marks, RPMs, where the D was struck more than once during the minting process, leaving a visible overlap or shadow of the letter, making the mint mark appear doubled, tripled, or slightly misaligned, and collectors prize these as fascinating mistakes, especially when they are dramatic enough to see without magnification, and certain varieties of the 1968 D RPM pennies have sold for thousands of dollars at auctions, especially when preserved in high grade. Another type of mistake is the off-center strike, where the coin is not aligned properly in the press, leaving part of the design missing and a blank crescent of metal visible on one side. Off-center strikes can range from minor to extreme, and the more dramatic the off-center strike, while still leaving the date visible, the more valuable the coin becomes, and in rare cases a 1968 D penny with an extreme off-center strike combined with a high grade could push into five-figure territory. And then we have clipped planchets, where part of the coin's edge is missing because the blank was cut from the metal strip incorrectly, creating a curved or straight clip that makes the coin look incomplete. And when paired with a strong mint mark or visible doubling, such clips can be incredibly valuable as well. Additionally, there are die cracks, cut errors, where part of the die breaks and leaves a raised blob of metal on the coin, and broad strikes without a collar, all of which contribute to the variety of error types that make a 1968 D penny special. And when one coin combines multiple errors or appears in superb mint state red condition, collectors are willing to pay premium prices to secure it. It's also important to remember that condition is critical. The coin market operates on a grading scale, and coins that are worn, scratched, or discolored from circulation are generally worth less. But when a 1968 D penny with errors is found in pristine uncirculated condition, especially with full red luster as it left the mint, its value skyrockets. And it is these perfect examples that can sell for $60,000 or more, because they represent the rarest of the rare. A coin not only with a striking error but also with no wear, preserved almost as if time had stopped, and grading agencies such as PCGS or NGC authenticate and encapsulate such coins, making them attractive to high-end collectors who want assurance of quality and authenticity. And once a 1968 D-penny has been certified in an elite grade with a dramatic error, it can become the centerpiece of a collection, sparking bidding wars at auction and pushing prices higher than anyone might expect for a penny. Another fascinating aspect of the 1968 D-penny is its composition, because 1968 pennies were still being struck from the traditional 95% copper and 5% zinc alloy, making them heavier and more durable than the copper-plated zinc pennies introduced in 1982. This means older copper pennies not only feel different in the hand but also have intrinsic metal value, and while their melt value might only be a few cents, collectors appreciate the solid copper era as part of American history, making coins like the 1968 D even more desirable, especially when paired with unusual mint errors, and so the composition contributes to their overall charm and collectability. Beyond the technical aspects, there is also the story, because every valuable coin carries a narrative that captures imagination, and the 1968 D penny is no different. Imagine someone in 1968 picking up this penny fresh from the mint, tossing it into their pocket, never realizing that decades later collectors would be willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars for it. And perhaps today that coin sits in a jar or drawer, overlooked, waiting to be rediscovered. This is the magic of coin collecting, that ordinary people can stumble across extraordinary treasures, and the dream of finding one of these coins keeps collectors searching and keeps the market alive with excitement. Auction houses have seen surprising results when era 1968 D pennies cross the block. Some examples of dramatic double dies or mint mark varieties have soared in price as competitive bidding drives values far above expectations, and these results encourage more people to examine their coins closely, searching for the tiniest details that could mean the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth $60,000. And that is why numismatics is not just a hobby, it is also a treasure hunt, where knowledge, patience, and sharp eyes can lead to life-changing discoveries. And when you consider how many 1968 D pennies were struck, the thought that a few slipped out with rare errors makes the hunt even more thrilling, because those few survivors are now legends. So why does the 1968 D penny command such respect and fascination in the collecting world? The answer lies in the perfect balance of rarity, condition, era type, and demand. It is a modern coin that bridges the old copper era with the evolving technology of minting. It carries the Lincoln design that has been a cultural icon since 1909. And it embodies the possibility that mistakes, instead of diminishing value, can elevate an object into priceless status. And for collectors, the 1968 D penny is a reminder that the ordinary can become extraordinary, that a tiny detail overlooked at the mint can create a treasure worth thousands or tens of thousands, and that history, art, and chance all come together in the palm of your hand when you hold one of these coins. As we wrap up this exploration, let us remember that the world of coins is full of surprises. And the 1968 D penny worth up to $60,000 is just one example of how exciting numismatics can be. So always check your change, always look closely, and always remember that every coin tells a story, and some of those stories might just change your life. Maybe the next penny you find will be one of those rare treasures from 1968, waiting quietly for decades, only to emerge as a legendary coin that proves once again that in the world of collecting, even the smallest mistakes can be worth a fortune.